Okay, I've waited very patiently for this. On this day, November 18th, 1985, exactly 40 years ago, was the debut of one of my favorite comic strips, Calvin and Hobbes. Before you ask, no, I was not named after a 6-year-old blonde white boy. That is my grandfather's name. So I could talk about how great the comic books are, and I feel like if you know about Calvin and Hobbes, you already know that. But instead, I want to focus on the man behind the comics, Bill Watterson. Now, you're probably listening to that name, Bill Watterson. That sounds familiar, especially if you watch The Amazing World of Gumball. Well, in case you guessed it, the Watterson family name comes from Bill Watterson. As a fan of both series, when I learned that, I'm like, bro, what a, like, I just love that so much. So here's my collection right here. This is, I'm pretty sure, is the first book I got. The cover's gone, but this is of the first newspaper strips from November of 1985 to August of 1986. And I have two of the Treasury books here, the Essential Calvin and Hobbes and the Indispensable Calvin and Hobbes. Now, Bill Watterson is a man who has been described by many, including myself, as the anti-Jim Davis, who is the creator of Garfield, for reasons that I will soon explain. Now, unlike Garfield, which is on literally everything, there is little to no official Calvin and Hobbes merch. So this damn Calvin pissing sticker you probably see on multiple cars, all these shirts and posters and other stuff, all unlicensed. Now, this came from Watterson's belief that the integrity of the characters and the strip will be undermined by commercialization. So the only exceptions to this are two 16-month calendars, a t-shirt for the Smithsonian exhibit, Great American Comics 100 Years of Cartoon Art, and an extremely rare textbook teaching kids. Another significant thing about Calvin and Hobbes is that Bill Watterson only ran it for 10 years. You might think 10 years is a lot, but when it comes to comic books, that's honestly nothing. In comparison, Peanuts ran for nearly 50 years, from 1950 to 2000, and Garfield has been running since 1978. In November of 1995, Bill Watterson announced that he would be ending Calvin and Hobbes, and essentially he said that as much as it brought him sadness to end it, and it wasn't a recent decision, he essentially did it because he felt like he did everything that he needed to do, and that it was just time to end it. The last Calvin and Hobbes entry was made New Year's Eve, 1995. Ever since then, Bill Watterson has enjoyed an extremely private life. He rarely does interviews, and in each interview that he's done, he's stood by his belief of he ended Calvin and Hobbes when he needed to end it. And I think that's really cool. In this current age of just rehashes and remakes of old properties and just merchandising of everything and just feeling the need to just milk every IP for what it's worth, I have immense respect for how Watterson just kept it in the comic. He made Calvin and Hobbes. He didn't overrun it. He just did what he needed to do. No merchandise or anything. It was just like, he treated it like an art form that needed to be respected. And it's something that I and a lot of other people have respect for him on. And as much as I would have loved, like, at least a movie or an animated series, I do have immense respect for Watterson's stance on Calvin and Hobbes. So aside from the occasional collaboration with other comics like Pearls Before Swine, and the very, very rare occasions he does interviews, Bill Watterson's just been completely off the grid. Don't know what's going on with him. So, to my and other people's complete surprise, in October of 2023, 28 years after any books that he's made, he releases this, The Mysteries, with cartoonist John Cash, where it's just like a bunch of short stories and illustrations. I'm just like, bro really just came out of nowhere after almost 30 years and was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna just drop a book. And I love that. I just love that, honestly. So in conclusion, read Calvin and Hobbes. You will not be disappointed.